Okay. Live.
All right, so
We are.
Yeah.
oh, okay. Now we're live. So let's see. We have 2 minutes.
Well, you guys can start talking. Nothing says you can't talk.
Well, this is true. I guess we can start a couple of minutes early. Let's wait till it clicks one more thing to 9:59.
You know that people are going to watch all of this, right? So.
Yep. We're having a great time this morning. All right.
So, Brian, do you ever play guitar anymore?
Rarely. I have two guitars. I have a 12-string Alvarez and I have a 6-string. And
wow, 12 strings.
I used to play them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I just I stopped, and then my calluses went away, and it just hurts my fingers. But now I'm writing a song, and I started on it last night. I'm writing a song about Alzheimer's, so kind of like my journey put to music.
Great, that's great.
Okay, well, we have our first customer, which happens to be her sister.
Well, normally Melinda is my anchor. When I see her come on as our audience, I'm like, yes. But today, yes, we get to have her live.
I know, and we can actually hear what she says instead of just seeing her name on the screen.
You know, it's funny. I woke up this morning thinking, wow, I can't see the show today. The show.
Through the magic of recording, you can watch it over and over, and you can bring people over and say, "Hey, watch my show."
Wow.
I know. We go the extra mile.
It's like the Tonight Show, but it's the Today Show? No, that's
the morning show.
That's Taken too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's the 10 o'clock show.
Yeah.
It's our standard time.
Or it's the dementia show.
So I put Melinda's website into the chat.
Okay. All right. So I guess we're ready to start it off. Good morning, everyone. I'm Brian LeBlanc. And over here, you can't see her, but she's Maureen. She's my much better half. She'll be manning the board and talking about the questions that pop up and so forth. And good morning, Bobby. Good to see you. Today we have a wonderful guest. Well, all of our guests are wonderful. She's just a little bit wonderfuler. Because of the fact that she is a music therapist. For those of you that know me, you know how passionate and how powerful music is for me and to me. So to have Melinda with us this morning, she's going to talk a little bit about things that I don't usually discuss because I'm not a professional. I'm more of a connoisseur of music. So Melinda, thank you for being here. Oh, yeah, I'll read her bio right here. Thank you.
Glad to be here.
What's that?
Glad and honored to be here. Thank you.
Well, we're glad and honored to have you here. A little bit about Melinda. She graduated from NYU with a master's degree in music psychotherapy. She is a New York State licensed creative arts therapist who has been practicing clinical music therapy as well as creating new music therapy programs with a variety of populations for over 30 years. For over 14 years, Ms. Burgard created and championed music socials throughout the entire Hudson Valley for the Alzheimer's Association. Melinda, who considers herself as a holistic music therapist for families living with dementia, is currently collaborating with not-for-profit Action toward independence. Let me read that again. She is currently collaborating with not-for-profit Action Toward Independence and offering free monthly Zoom music therapy programs for people living with dementia with their care partners, as well as a unique music therapy group for care partners alone. Her groups are free to anyone living anywhere. And another perk for her clients, when eligible, free instruments can be mailed to them every few months. Melinda resides 1 hour north of New York City in Greenwood Lake, New York, but today, through the magic of video, she's here with us live. So welcome, Melinda.
Well, thank you. I feel the Florida heat.
Oh, yeah. Even when it's cold, it's hot. I mean, we're so used to, I'm looking at the names up here, and, usually your name is the first one to join us, but, that was taken over by Bobby. So,
well, thank you, Bobby. I could type in if you wait a minute.
No, it's okay. God, she goes over and above, doesn't she?
Always.
Always. Okay. Okay, so I know that I talked a little bit about what you do, but one of the things that has my mind buzzing is about the holistic music. You said that you are a holistic music therapist. So what's the difference between a music therapist and a holistic music therapist?
Yeah, the term holistic music therapist, actually, I never heard of it before, but I was doing an interview with a music therapy college professor, and I was telling him about what I did, and he said, "Oh, you're a holistic music therapist," and I was like, "Okay." Who knew? But it made sense, because basically a music therapist has a minimum of a bachelor's degree. Some of us have master's degrees like myself, and some have doctorates in music therapy. We all use music as a vehicle in general to achieve non-musical goals. So I'm not here necessarily to entertain you or to teach you how to play music. I'm here to help you with your anxiety. I'm here to help you with socialization. I'm here to help you get physically fit. I'm here for, actually, I'll be talking about this a little bit later. I came up with a recipe for mental and brain health called SPECS, and it's an acronym that stands for all the different non-musical goals that all music therapists do. As a holistic music, and also, by the way, it's a music therapist is about the relationship. Again, music is just the vehicle toward the relationship with the client or clients, as well as the non-musical goals. I think of myself as a holistic music therapist because I'm not just interested in the music therapy portion itself. I'm looking at the person as a whole. That's why I started watching you guys on Facebook Live. I wanted to learn more about, say you're moving, you had that real estate person on. How does someone get guided through the fog of dementia, yet be able to find someone who could help them and understand them through finding another home to live, or anything, any need that you have, whether it has to do with Medicaid, who can I refer people to? I'm not an expert in any of the other things, but if I can learn as much as possible, then I can help my clients even more. And that's why I think of myself as, and that's not something they teach you in music therapy school. That's just something that I'm just thirsty to share as much knowledge as possible. But I do look at it through a music therapy lens.
Right. That's very interesting. One of the things, and this is on a personal note, I wake up sometimes with brain fog, and depending upon the severity of it, if it's just light and I'm moving kind of slow, I'm okay. But when I wake up and I can't navigate, like I forget where everything is, I know where my recliner is, and so I go there. But Maureen comes up and she takes my phone, she puts it on music, and she literally places the headphones on me. And within 25, 30 minutes, maybe sometimes, earlier than that, but the music just enters my I want to say it does enter my brain, but it enters my whole body. And next thing you know, I'm very relaxed. And then I'm singing along with the songs because, it's my music. And have you seen that in your practice? If you're working one-on-one and someone is super anxious, do you use music as a tool?
Oh yeah, I mean, I always use music as a tool. What came to mind as you were talking about that is I don't know specifically in other states, but I was at an assisted living home with a client who I saw like every week. And in the assisted living places, if someone gets agitated, a lot of them aren't trained. The staff there is not trained to deal with people with dementia. It's not, which is, I think, insane. But
isn't that ironic?
Yeah. It's ridiculous. But so what happened was what they do is if a person starts getting agitated or in a fog or whatever, they immediately send them to the ER, which of course isn't going to help them either. That's what they do here. Actually, that's what they did at that facility in New Jersey that I was at. It might happen in New York too. That's what they do. It's horrible. So what happened was this woman who I used to visit every week, she was very, very into Frank Sinatra. And the family knew what I was doing. So they kept a CD player in her room. And the aide knew enough to turn when they were, actually, I think the family member called the aide and said, listen, just put this on before you send my mom to the ER. Let's try and the second she heard Frank Sinatra, it saved a trip to the ER. So, I mean, it's just so simple and it doesn't hurt you and you don't need a prescription, although music therapists could help you with that. It's just so simple. Anyway, so that's what that reminded me of. Yeah, it definitely can be used by anyone as a tool. And that's part of my mission, that I want people to know I have all this information. I wanted to get out that even if you're not a music therapist, there are things you can do to help your loved one living with dementia.
Melinda, one of the things that I see repeatedly in communities, especially memory care communities, is that with good intention, I'm going to believe that in my heart, with good intention, the staff will put on music for the people living there. Mm-hmm. And I think to myself often, if I was in a community and they put on rap music, that would cause me to get angry and anxious, but it could calm somebody else down. I'm not saying rap music is bad. I'm just saying for me, it is not good and it causes more anxiety. And then they wonder why people start getting agitated and they start blaming it on the disease rather than the action that they took. So that's why I'm such a huge proponent of a personalized playlist or personalized playlists.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. And the thing is, and I think since I've been watching you guys and typing into you guys all this time, I think I mentioned this before. At one moment, like for instance, my wedding song was Fly Me to the Moon, Frank Sinatra's Fly Me to the Moon. So at one moment in my life, that might put me in a really, really happy mood thinking of my wedding and the whole thing. And in another moment, it might make me really, really sad that was so long ago, or I miss my parents, So you have to, it's like you have to be on top of those lists also, you know. I mean, I've also seen places where sometimes they put headphones on people and then people walk away. I think the most important thing is to just, that's great, give them their playlist, but keep an eye on them, what's going on.
Yeah, right. It's not a one and done solution.
Right.
Well, thank you for that information. That was good. Now, you know that we have been through that pandemic thing, and it kind of changed the way people interacted with each other. Everybody was on quarantine. You had to wear the mask and so forth. So how has your practice changed since the pandemic?
Yeah, before the pandemic, I would have live groups. And as soon as at the time when the pandemic was started, I was working for the Alzheimer's Association, and they called me up, and I remember at 3:00 that afternoon, I was coming back from one of my groups, and they said, stop all groups right now. And I thought, ooh, now what do we do? And I'd always noticed that button on Facebook that said Facebook Live. And I thought, how hard could that be?
If we can do it, anybody can do it.
I mean, eventually I ended up doing Zoom and having private groups with it. But I started that way. But I was concerned about two things. One thing I was concerned about is, would it be as effective a tool not being there in person? Plus, I'm a big hugger. I never let people enter my room without a hug or exit my room without a hug. How am I going to give them a virtual hug? But it turns out that actually it was very effective, and people were able to stay in touch and talk to each other via Facebook Live. And then eventually we ended up doing it on Zoom, which worked out even better for us, and in terms of HIPAA and that kind of thing. But before that even happened, I used to watch the people in my live groups, and then suddenly they weren't able to come to the group anymore because it was hard for them to leave the house. And I always thought in my mind, this should not be the end of our musical relationship. And this shouldn't be the end of their relationship with the people in the group. But I always wondered if virtual would even work, but I just never went there. Well, this offered me the opportunity, the pandemic offered the opportunity for people who can't come out to join the group. And I think that's been fantastic. So
well, at least you found a way to still reach them. And, and I'm sure that helped, because look, when the pandemic was going on, and it still is, and it still is, yeah, but to a lesser extent. Maureen would always try to do something to get me out of the house, because I was just a lump. Everything had been taken away. There was no more public speaking. There was, just that's what I thrived on. But then that was taken away. So there again, when depression and everything sets in, put my little headphones on, and that it's like a cure. Well, I don't want to say cure. It's temporary. It's a temporary cure for what's going on.
Yeah, or something. Yeah.
Melinda, can I ask you a question? Do you think, and I may not be saying this right, so please correct me if I'm wrong. Do you think that music coming into your brain helps your brain to sort things out, like feeling?
Music coming into your brain helps to sort things out. What music does is it ignites so many parts of your brain. It's just like a supercharge.
Gotcha.
They used to think it was just one side of your brain that it ignited, but it ignites like so many different things. I think music and movement are like the two things that really are up there. I mean, all of the creative arts help with that also. I think there's something about music and movement that really get that going. And actually, and that's how I ended up coming up with a recipe for during the pandemic for a musical recipe for brain health. I know I'm ahead of myself there, Brian, for brain and mental health. But yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about your recipe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my recipe, it's very difficult for me to actually, I've never been great at memorization. I'm more of an experiential kind of learner. Mm-hmm. And so during the pandemic, I was trying to come up with an acronym that would help me remember what might be great for brain health and mental health, because even me without dementia and everybody with or without dementia, we were having a hard time. It's not easy. Everybody needs this.
Right.
So I came up with what I call SPECS. That was my acronym. And as you can see here, the SPECS stands for socialization, physical health, emotional expression, cognitive learning, and spirituality. I know you have my website there. If anyone's interested in a copy of this, feel free to contact me and I could send you one.
And that website is Melinda.
Linda's.
Melinda's.
Yeah.
Yeah. melindasmusic.com. Can they email you?
Yeah. They can contact me via that way.
And they can email, you can email Melinda at melindasmusic@cs.com. Maureen is putting the website as well as the email address in the comment section.
Yeah.
So,
Melinda's Music, the email again is what?
The what now?
The email is what?
The email is melindasmusic@cs.com.
Yeah, no apostrophe with the Melindas.
Right. You can't do that, yeah. So you started on SPECS. So could you go in a little bit more as far as, could you take it from what each letter, means and with an explanation and so forth?
Sure. I mean, I came up with SPECS because I realized each of these were non-musical goals that I was using in all my groups already. So, but little did I know that it could help me too, and it could help other people. First of all, and so it was great that I came up with that. I know other people have other acronyms that they come up with, but for me, it was like, oh, SPECS, we can look into it. Yeah, SPECS.
Yeah.
SPECS, Brian, you with me? 1, 2, 3.
Yes, I am. Everybody with glasses, do this. 1, 2, 3.
Done.
Okay. Hey, we have audience participation.
Exactly. That's part of this virtual thing. We can interact. Exactly. I'd like to see that in the comments. Anyway, so the first S in, thank you, Bobby. Bobby did it. Let's hope Bobby really wears glasses. I don't know if
he does.
Okay, good. Then we're good. Okay. So the first S in SPECS stands for socialization, which for all of us is important. But as you guys well know, come the pandemic and the socialization for people with dementia diminished. And it also, it was very, very difficult. And the disease progressed because people weren't able to socialize. For me, I call the S, the socialization, vitamin S. Everybody needs it, but especially people living with dementia need vitamin S. Socialization, whether it's through a phone call or whether it's virtually, all need vitamin S. Now, for my groups, I'm just going to give you examples of songs that I use to initiate the group, which is, I usually call it a hello song, but for vitamin S, that would work. Again, if you're into rap, you may choose a different song. If you're into any other genre music, it all should be individually what you're into. But again, I'm using the example from the people in my group today. So one song I might use for socialization might be So Happy Together. Another song I might choose is Getting to Know You. And another example of another song might be Hello, Dolly. And that's just where my groups are at. Again, individual. So that's vitamin S. That's socialization. The first S in specs.
Okay.
Ready? In specs.
Specs.
Exactly.
Made for each other.
It's the musical connection.
It is.
It's music talk. For physical, the P is physical health in specs. And actually, initially, I called it physical activity, but I realized that physical activity just includes just moving around. But physical health includes sleeping, includes drinking water. So I think things like that are very important. So for physical health, the songs that I might choose, actually what I do in my groups, I use movement a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So songs that I might choose might be All Shook Up, which I could do an easy, movement thing with that. Or it could just be a song that has to do with the season. Right now we're in, almost summertime. I might start off with Summertime and just, do some movement or a little stretching to it. Something that I learned recently, which might be a fun thing for people, is from a dance therapist. I learned this, is that using a scarf, or you could even use a tissue, you just throw it up and you just grab it. And someone who's like sitting there stiff in a chair and is unable to move could get motivated. I love using this song Up, Up and Away with it. The Fifth Dimension. And
yeah.
But you're getting exercise, whether you play catch with it or you just grab it, or, you could be silly with it, whatever you want, that kind of thing. So that's another way for physical health. Here's an example of someone that needed to drink water. And this was at the beginning of my career. So we're talking in the late 80s. So the song might be a little bit older, but I'm feeling you guys might know it. And she wouldn't drink her water. And as you know, that could happen for a number of reasons. They might have a swallowing issue. It might hurt. Their stomach might hurt, whatever might be going on, but still important to get water into you. So I started singing, the prettiest girl I ever saw was drinking water through a straw. The prettiest girl I ever saw was drinking water through a straw. And then I said, let's have a sip. And so she took a sip. They say there's some research on being playful. And I think the music helps you be playful. And by being playful, it also helps your brain. So, think of little kids. They're always being playful, and that's how they learn. So I think it's helpful with the brain being playful. Another thing I did, another way I got a woman recently to drink water is I knew she had a Jewish background. And many, many Jewish people know the blessing over the wine, which is, I'm sure in different cultures, people have different way of saying cheers. But I would have a little cup of water for me, one for her, and we'd go, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen, amen. And take a sip, l'chaim. And
you got that? Put that in the chat box.
I'm going to spell all of that.
Write it in Hebrew, Maureen.
You can't in the computer because you can't type from right to left on the computer. So.
Good point. But
let me ask you this question: have you ever if you're looking to get everyone charged up, do you ever use the song "Shake Your Booty" by KC and the Sunshine Band?
It's not a bad idea. I don't think I have that on my playlist, but I would if I could.
Yeah, that's something that because I used to sing with the group back in Pensacola, and we went to care communities and so forth. And it's from my point of view, because we look at the crowd, but different songs would affect them in a different way. And they knew the songs, but they wouldn't take part in singing it. But first of all, you would, about 10 minutes in, you would see a foot starting to tap. Then the foot would keep going, and then they would start clapping. And then you would see them mouthing the words, not singing, but just mouthing. And then like a half hour later, they have joined in on every single song that we were singing. Because just like you, we chose songs that we knew that they were from their generation and time frame. So
also something about the disco beat. Even if you don't know the song, there's something motivating about the beat that gets people going. Yeah,
it makes you move.
It makes you shake your booty.
Yes, it does.
I may add that to my list now. That's the hard thing about being virtual, though, because most of the movement I do is up here.
Right.
I mean, I guess I could stand up. I'm not going to demonstrate the shake your booty thing, but yeah.
I don't have a booty to shake, so it's okay.
So now, what's the E stand for, Inspect?
The E stands for emotional expression. And it's very important for all of us to validate our feelings. So whether you're feeling happy, whether you're feeling angry, whether you're feeling anxious, anytime that you can validate someone's feelings, it's very helpful. And it actually decreases the anxiety, because it's like, okay, I'm not going crazy here. It's an emotion, and emotions never leave you. Even when the person is in the final stages of the disease, they still feel things. And that's something really important for people to keep in mind. I've had clients, caregivers say to me, well, they're not going to hear the music now. It's not going to do anything anymore. She doesn't move anymore. And that's so not true. I think it's really important to continue to be there with them on some level.
When my mom was going through the later stages of her Alzheimer's journey, when I would go visit, she sang in church for 40 years, over 40 years, and I did the same. So we had that musical connection, but she lost the ability to speak. And so what she would do is she would stare at me intently. And it took me a little while to figure out what she was doing. But she would start la, la, la instead of the words. But I tell everybody it was perfectly on pitch. And then she would stop. She would look at me and smile. And I would say something like, oh, that was beautiful. But then she would do it again. And what she was trying to make me do is tell her what she was singing. And I told her one time, I said, Mom, that's from The Sound of Music. And she big, huge smile.
She was testing you. She was testing cognitive ability.
Yes, exactly. The mother
communicating with you.
Yeah, she continued to teach and to care. And even though she couldn't speak, she was doing her best to just, have that conversation. And even if it was in musical notes, then that was okay.
It was her way of connecting with you and showing her emotional expression. Right. Exactly. I love you, Brian, is what she was saying.
Right.
Exactly. I love that. I once had a client who I I had the honor of being with her like 3 hours before she passed. Unfortunately, her family was not anywhere nearby. And I was with a nurse who was like a geriatric care manager who was guiding me toward, because I'd never had that experience. And I mean, I was like singing really old fashioned songs. This woman was older, and I was singing like Daisy, Daisy, that kind of thing. And she hummed back the next phrase of it to me. This is 3 hours before she passed.
Oh, wow.
It was amazing. It was amazing. So yeah, the music's always there.
Yeah.
Brian has music as one of the primary things he wants in his end of life experience. He wants there, and specifically what type of music he wants. I figure if he's a pain in my butt, I'll play music I like and I'll sing to him.
Yeah. Her music isn't the problem. It's her singing, you know. I'm going to get her a bucket so she can carry tunes around in that.
Whoa. Again, we've discussed this before, but everyone is allowed to sing however they like.
Because they make it a joyful noise.
And it's expression.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And then we're going to go to the C, what the C stands for.
Oh, but I did want to tell you a little bit more about the emotional expression, because one of the songs, and then we'll go to the C. The emotional expression, the song I use for that is Kumbaya. Again, it may not be everybody's Kumbaya type. Pick your song, but someone's happy, my Lord, Kumbaya. Someone's sad, my Lord, Kumbaya. And I also wanted to show you it. Another way that you could show expression might be via an instrument. My collaboration with ATI allows me to send these instruments out, simple instruments anyone could play every month. So we have claves. And I want to tell you another story about that woman who I watched her pass away. I was with her for over 11 years. She was a client who was my longest standing client, and I saw her twice a week for 11 years. One time her regular aide was on vacation, and then a substitute aide was in. And I walked into her house, and immediately I got a weird vibe. So if I'm feeling a weird vibe and uncomfortable from the aide, how is my client who's in a wheelchair, who's no longer able to speak, who has dementia, dealing with this? So I always had shaker eggs there for her. So I gave her the shaker eggs, and I started playing guitar near her, and I started.
We're having some technical difficulties. Melinda, you're frozen.
If you can hear us,
Great. I wanted so much to be on camera this morning.
Is that her coming back?
No, it's me.
Oh. Okay.
So Brian, talk some more about music.
Well, yeah. As I said before, I play guitar, but playing the guitar has sort of gone away in my interest from a couple of years ago. But now I'm starting to not only play music, but I'm also writing music with, I'm currently writing a song about Alzheimer's. And so it's going to be something that needs some sort of accompaniment. So that's why I'm going to start playing guitar again. But the hard part is getting the calluses built up on the fingertips.
I see some guitarists wear a metal thing on their finger.
That's for sliding.
Oh, I thought it might be so you don't get calluses.
No, they use it for just when they're picking and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm going to start picking up my guitar again to play along with music. I have all these music books that are sitting under the TV cabinet, and it's just something that's inside of me that I feel like is going to help me, and it will definitely help me with my anxiety and so forth. Can we try to?
She has to come back in, and for me to let her in.
Okay. Do we have her?
No.
No. Well, we're waiting on Melinda to come back. Usually it's us that has the technical errors. Hopefully y'all can still hear us. So let me see where she was. Okay. If you didn't hear in the beginning, she uses what she calls SPECS in her music therapy, which stands for spirituality. The S in SPECS is for spirituality. And then you put it in the comments, didn't you?
Yes, I was up to C.
Okay. And then you have E for emotional expression. So she has a lot of different things that she includes within her musical therapy to help her clients, to help who she's visiting with.
So what was the C for? Did she tell us?
Yeah. Oh, C. No.
Okay.
I don't see it.
Well, if Melinda can't get back on, we're going to go ahead and close out the show, and then we'll ask her to come back another week and finish this out.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
I should have paid more attention when she
That's
put
all right. You can't scroll up because I think she put each one.
No, I was doing that.
Oh, you were doing that. Okay. All right. Sorry. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to end the show a little bit earlier. Well, 10:39. We went over a little bit, but that's okay. And we will, like Maureen said, we'll have Melinda back for another time, so she can pick right up where she left off. And I got it in. I got it in my phone. Okay. So that's okay. That's all right, Melinda. You're going to come back and we're going to continue this conversation. Thank you for joining us today. And thank all of our watchers and listeners for joining us also. Y'all have a very, very good Saturday. Remember that this Sunday is two things. It's Father's Day, of course. And number two, it's the Alzheimer's Longest Day, where we celebrate the summer solstice. It's a fundraising event. If you go to my Facebook page, I have a link that you can use to donate, which would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And you can also share that with your friends and family. So,
and we're going to be watching them turn the Sunshine Skyway purple.
Yes.
Sunday night. Out on a boat.
We're going to be on a boat.
We will try to put video of that on our We Are Dementia Strong Facebook page. We really loved having Melinda on with us. I just love her. She is amazing, and I see my sister Bobby agrees with me.
Right. She says she's coming back. Wait.
Okay.
So we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait a few minutes. Oh, there she is. There you is. Wait, we're gonna.
Sorry. I don't know what happened.
Hey, it happens.
It was the shaker eggs.
Yeah. They were too much to handle.
Not going to use them again. Anyway, and that's what happened. So my client was shaking them voraciously, which I will not do. And when she was trying to tell me something, and even though she couldn't speak, and when I left, the I immediately called the geriatric care manager who was in charge of the place. And I said, look, I was afraid to be in there. She was trying to tell me something, and it turned out she was being abused by that substitute aide. And I wouldn't have known that without the shaker eggs.
Because she was shaking them so hard?
Yeah, there was just something intuitively that was telling me that it wasn't normal.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But I also
I would have never thought of shaking them would send a message, but I understand that now.
It's expression.
Yeah.
It's expression. So, a music therapist might use that, like I said, a simple tool. Thanks everybody, by the way, for hanging in there and not leaving. So anyway, C is for cognitive learning. The C in specs. Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome. Still here?
C in specs is for cognitive learning. And what I like to do is I relate it to music, since that's my thing. But again, you could use specs for anything. I go through my day and like, did I socialize today? Did I do any physical activity? Did I have any emotional expression? Did I learn anything? So this is like a story that I love sharing. It was 1969, and the Beatles were about to break up. And they were having all kinds of meetings with lawyers, and George Harrison had enough of it. So one day he played hooky, and he decided to go to the country to visit his friend Eric Clapton's house. And he walked through his gardens, and he just felt such relief from all the tumult that was going on with the Beatles breaking up and all the lawyers and the whole business part of it. And immediately after that, he wrote the song, Here Comes the Sun. Did you know that, Brian?
No, I did not.
So that's cognitive learning. That's learning something new. But for me, it relates to something musically. And I might play the song, Here Comes the Sun, after I share that with people.
Oh, that's so cool. And then that happens to be one of my favorite Beatles songs.
Yeah, it was very popular, and that wouldn't have happened without him playing hooky and going to Eric Clapton's house and being inspired by his gardens.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So anyway, that's C for cognitive learning. And the final S is for spirituality. The final S in, ready, Brian? In specs. We're getting the specs look.
I'm doing this for some reason. I don't know why, but
I don't either.
It kind of goes with the,
Oh, the eyeglass thing. Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know.
Okay.
The final S is for spirituality, which for everybody is different. It might be an organized a religion thing for you. It might be walking into nature. It might be yoga. Often I use the song This Little Light of Mine, which is a great song. Exactly. And I actually add in that, just like you did, these little hands of mine. I'm going to let them clap. Fingers, I'm going to let them snap. Toes, I'm going to let them tap. But another way that I look at spirituality is being grateful. And so I wanted to end our talk today with this wonderful chant that my good friend Margie Durasso wrote. And I end all of my groups with this. It's about gratitude. And Margie's on. Hi, Margie. Margie's going to put in actually the link, if you like this song, to where you can hear the song again.
Okay.
So anyway, I'd like to play a few, but what I would like to hear from you, as well as the people in the chat, if they can tell me one thing that they're grateful for. And I'm going to get my guitar ready. And that would end the final S in spirituality.
Okay.
Okay, so Brian, what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful that I was able to wake up this morning with no fog, with no confusion, and had my best friend by my side.
Did you have to give me so many words?
Okay.
How about Maureen?
Yeah, Maureen. Yeah.
I like that.
The word for today
I can put it all in.
Today's word, boys and girls,
is Maureen. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Maureen, what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for Melinda.
Ooh. Well, it's mutual. Thank you. I see that Margie's grateful for family and friends. The internet. Thank you.
Yeah.
God bless that internet.
That's a good one.
That's a really good one. Exactly. Oh, great that you learned about music healing. Okay, great. I am going to get started now on that. The song is called There's Beauty in My Life. There is beauty in my life. There is beauty in my life. There is beauty in my life, in my life, in my life, in my life. There is beauty in my life. You can feel free to sing if you want, or clap or tap, whatever. There is music healing in my life. There's music healing in my life. Music healing in my life, in my life, in my life, in my life. Music healing in my life. There is internet in my life. There is internet in my life. There is internet in my life. My life, in my life, in my life. There is internet in my life. There's family and friends in my life. Family and friends in my life. Family and friends in my life. In my life. In my life. In my life. Family and friends in my life. There is waking up with no fog and confusion and my best friend in my life. There is Maureen in my life. There is Maureen in my life. In my life. In my life. In my life. There is Maureen in my life. Oh, there's another Maureen. There's Melinda in my life. There's Melinda in my life. There's Melinda in my life. In my life. In my life. In my life. There's Melinda in my life. We are dimension strong in our lives. There is dimension strong in our lives. We are dimension strong in our lives. Our lives. In our lives.
Your life.
In our lives.
Everybody's life.
We are dimension strong in our
Maybe someday
Simply Deep. If you Google Simply Deep CD by Margie Durasso.
Yeah.
CD Baby, you can get a copy of that song if you're interested.
All right. Cool. What would you say?
I was saying that someday soon, Brian and I are going to be up in New York, and we hope that you two can sing along together.
Oh, that'd be great.
In person.
We can make a record.
Yeah, we could.
We could, yeah.
Well, thank you, everybody, for hanging in with us today. For the best part was saved for the last, obviously.
Exactly.
And Melinda, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. It was weird not being able to chat in. Actually, I did chat in.
I did.
It was very nice to have a someone, you know, with the music inside of them, just as it is for me, to just to talk, and I've learned a lot of things from you today. So, and I hope that everybody else that tuned in also learned and took some notes and so forth. That, you know, music, yes, music is for listening, and it's great, but it's also used as a therapeutic tool that you can use in your life every single day.
Well, we will have Melinda on again because this has been very synergistic.
Ooh.
Is that another?
That's why.
Okay, never mind. Should have known.
Thank you, everybody. Next week, it's just going to be Brian and I, so think of questions you can type into the chat to ask us.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Thank you,
You'll be
Melinda.
there.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thanks.
Y'all have a great Saturday.